Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10 Reunion Part 1. Good morning to our people in the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Let them know. Hit that like button. Good morning, T. Christie. What's going on? And good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, let's get into it. I want to make sure you guys can see and hear me clearly. Just make sure you guys let me know that when you come into the room and also let us know where you're watching from. Okay. So let's dive into Potomac Reunion Part 1, and then we're going to discuss Married to Medicine right after. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to put okay, you can hear me loud and clear. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Great. I'm going to put your chats on the screen so that people can see your comments. Make sure to keep the comments clean or you will be ejected. All right, you will be ejected. So I want to dive into Potomac first. Y'all, this was interesting to me. This was real interesting to me. First of all, we get the unaired footage that we had seen during the trailers that really I wanted to see Wendy and Eddie at home because we had been promised that based on the mid-season trailers. So we did finally get this opening, this sort of almost cold opening in Wendy and Eddie's home. And we're following them for what appears like a morning in the day of their lives after the week after they had been arrested. We will later find out that Wendy and Eddie spent the night in jail. I thought that they had gotten out of jail and they went I felt like they went in, they were booked and then they left. That's how I assumed that it happened, but I didn't know that they spent the night in the slammer. Okay? So Wendy does detail all of that later, but I kind of want to take this play by play because there's some things that I do feel like we need to address as we kind of move through this whole process with the two of them. So they talk about how one of the things that I thought was super interesting was they talked about how they couldn't believe that they were in this situation. They couldn't believe that this has happened. As I suspected, they never go into whether or not they are innocent or guilty or any of that. They just keep the conversations to how they feel in the aftermath of it. And I think that that's probably the smartest play because you don't want to dive too much into any of this because anything that you say can and will be used against you later. So I'm sure their attorneys have advised them of how to frame this in the way that a reality TV show would want, and that is how you feel as a result of this happening. That is the smartest way to talk about this. If you're going to stay on this show and you want to still be paid, I'm sure that's really all you can do. So I felt like they did just that. I don't feel like they acted around the bounds of what you could potentially say that would get you in trouble. However, where Wendy seems to be getting dinged the most is the casual way that she speaks about this to the ladies at the reunion. But we'll get there when we get there. First, let's continue to follow them in their homes. Wendy says something that I thought was super important is that she will never be the same after this event. She will never be the same. I can understand that sentiment. I think that that's a truthful sentiment. After you go through something like that, I would not anticipate that you would be the same. But the question will be, how does she show up at the reunion? Will she feel the same at the reunion? Based on what she said in that scene, will she feel like the same Wendy at the reunion? And the question that that question is answered for me at the reunion because she kind of does feel like the same Wendy, at least in the context of filming the reunion. there is almost an effervescence there that I don't know that I cannot explain to you how I would react in that situation. So I cannot assume to say what she should be doing, how she should be reacting, or how she should not be reacting. But what I can say is that her performance, and I'll say performance because I don't want to make it seem fake. I'm just saying how she did at the reunion. For the rest of the ladies, it comes across to them like everything is hunky dory. You know, hunky, who is hunky dory? I think that for them, they feel like she's just acting as though this were a walk in the park. And I think that you're right. I think that she could potentially be embarrassed. And she's trying to put on a good face while feeling crushed inside. The ladies are messy and you can't let them see you sweat. For Giselle to ask about her wig was so stupid. I'm gonna get to the wig because I just think that this needs to be covered. And I'm gonna do it in a way that is honest to my genuine reaction to that comment. So we'll get to the wiggery of it all. I'm just gonna leave that right there. I do believe that, like Karen, Wendy knows that these women will likely, while some of what she says may or may not be able to be used against her in the court of law, in the court of the Real Housewives of Potomac, that I think she does know she will be judged by these ladies. I think that Karen felt the same personally. I felt like Karen was in such denial, that she almost and she would not want to give these ladies any ammunition. So it almost felt like it was a bit of an ego thing that didn't lead her to make the decisions that maybe some of us would have made. I think that folks did expect Wendy to be boohoo crying. I think that they wanted this. I'm gonna give you the truth. I think that they wanted this to serve Wendy a slice of humble pie. And I'm saying that because later Ashley will say to her, that you at least I don't vilify my accomplishments. First of all, this that bothered me mostly because that is not the correct use of the word vilify in by any stretch of the imagination. I think that if you want to say anything, you would say that you feel like she weaponizes her accomplishments, to make herself feel or seem better than you. There's a point where you also have to think to yourself, is Wendy weaponizing her accomplishments, or does she simply talk about them in a way that it can't help but feel as though she is elevated and maybe you are not? You know, there's this idea that sometimes if you're talking about your accomplishments around people who maybe feel insecure about their own, then it's going to sound like that person is bragging. Wherein they may actually just be used to talking in circles about their accomplishments with other people who are talking about their accomplishments. And I love that Wendy said, "Me talk what does your thoughts about me has absolutely nothing to do with me. What you think about me has absolutely nothing to do with me. It has more to do with you, ma'am." To vilify, and I know this is very picky for me right now, but to vilify someone is basically like to make them appear or to talk bad about them, to make them seem like a villain. You can't vilify your accomplishments. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there. If you mean weaponize, yes, I get it. I get it. That's just my thoughts and opinions about this. I know that you guys may feel completely and totally different based on whether or not you like Wendy or not, but I'm just going to give you the facts. I have, I'm, if you move in circles around people who are used to accomplishing things or this is their norm, then they're used to talking about it. I think that there's a situation where you could say that Wendy going back to, the I have 4 degrees, people like you address me as Dr. Wendy. I think that there was some of that that could have been based in insecurity at the time, as she did state that when she came on this show, she was an insecure. There was insecurity there. She just had a baby. And I think that, Ashley was trying her at the time. And so she let her know, period. Now, let me get to the wiggery. There was a comment that Giselle made about her wig. Here's the thing about that. Um, I don't really want to have to say this because I feel like it's kind of unnecessary. But since Wendy's wig was called out in addition to her smile, um, you know what? Um, okay, so let's talk about it. I'm looking at some comments. I'm having a couple of different thoughts run through my mind. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, please. I would love for you guys to be subscribed to the channel. Any of the next lives that I do, it will be only for subscribers to comment. I'm just going to go ahead and state that now. And it is not because I want to limit people from being able to speak on the comments, but I want to ensure that if you are commenting, um, that you are subscribed, because I think that that will also curtail any unwelcome comments from people who just don't even belong to in the community. And I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. And I'm not going to even get out of pocket today because I don't have the energy for it. Also, too, you can feel free to disagree. That we love that. We love a disagree that is also based in what you actually think, your comments, your thoughts, your opinions. I welcome that because I don't claim to be always right. And I'm open to hearing other levels of discourse. That is why I go live, because I don't want to just know my opinion. All right. Okay. Now that I've said that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. With regards to Giselle making this comment about Wendy's wig, Giselle has been on the show for 10 seasons. And the odd thing about it to me is that whenever I feel like sometimes she's wearing wigs, the wig looks like it's sitting on top of her head. The wig be wigging way more than what Wendy's wig was doing. So it is to my utter shock and surprise that Giselle is commenting about Wendy's wig when Wendy has just been arrested. The woman has been arrested. What the heck is her wig supposed to look like? Who the heck cares? I'm sure the last thing that the woman is thinking about is her wig when she is being arrested, handcuffed, sleeping on a metal bed. Who the F is thinking about what their wig is going to be looking like at that point in time? Especially if on a day where you are intentionally wearing a wig and it still looks off. Like that makes absolutely no sense to me. So I just felt like Giselle, who the irony with Giselle is always tends to look 9 times better. Um, Beautiful woman in general, but she always looks 9 times better when she's not wearing a wig. So that's crazy to me that you're commenting about somebody's wig when it always looks like your wig is sitting on top of your head. Like, I just didn't get that. I felt like it was unnecessary. It was kind of cruel to me. And it's like, if I was Wendy, I would have looked at her and been like, girl, is you okay? I think I've seen many a wig sitting literally slapped on top of your head. Okay. And the wig be unnecessary. I'd be like, Giselle, why are you even wearing a wig? Your actual hair looks better than the wig. What are you doing? Why are we here? Like, why are we even having this low level conversation and we're really talking about your wig and the woman just got thrown in the jail? Who cares what her wig looked like at the time? That's what she should be thinking about? Do you think they handed her a compact mirror before and did you think she had glam before she was able to take the mugshot? Is that what was supposed to have happened? Oh, okay. I got you, girl. Now that we know what the expectation is for the arrest photo, I mean, granted, listen, if you get a good arrest photo, I mean, great. Okay. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. I think Portia has had she had a I think one of her arrest photos was spectacular. Okay. But that might have been luck of the draw with that. And quite a few people have had smirks in her mugshots. Now, Wendy's explanation for why she was smizing in her mugshot, listen, if the man was saying, "Give me more," I don't know how the man behind the camera at the jail turned into Gilles Ben Simon. I really don't. But if the man was telling her, "Okay, now do this, now do that," and he took that photo and she was just happens to be smizing in that one, okay, now that I have further context on how that whole situation went, now it sounds cockamamie, but if that's what happened, then the man, whoever did it, clearly took the photo. And how many photos are you taking when you get your mugshot taken? Is it just the one photo or is it multiple photos? I don't know. I ain't never asked nobody this, but it sounds to me like he was doing his own mini photo shoot with Wendy, and he took the one he liked the best, and that's the one that they used. I don't know. I don't know. It again, that sounded cockamamie to me, but it is what it is. But Ashley later on, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, niece. Ashley later on talking about how she didn't understand the severity of the situation. Girl, the woman has been thrown in the jail. What more do you need? I don't care if Wendy did look like she was, I don't care if she looked like she was grinning like a Cheshire cat. The woman and her husband have been thrown in jail. And you're talking about you don't understand the severity of the situation, but yet and still during Wendy's segment, your biggest fear is being thrown in jail. Well, I don't even know how any of this relates to you, ma'am. How does it relate to you in this moment? But now that we're talking about it, how do you say this is your biggest fear, but your biggest fear is somehow fodder for entertainment and fun later on? Those two things don't align. They don't align. So I don't understand your logic for saying in one breath at the beginning of the show that this is your biggest fear, but in the next breath you saying, well, I don't think I understood. I thought this was a joke. Where was the joke? At what point during the day, because I remember that day specifically, Taria and I were supposed to be recapping the Real Housewives of Miami, but this news broke and nobody could talk about anything but Dr. Wendy and her husband being arrested, and we are trying to figure out the why. Now we are all trying to figure out the why. We ain't joking about it. We trying to figure out, well, what happened? Why did they do this? How did they end up in this situation? What is going on? At no point did any of us think April Fools in October. Nobody thought that. Nobody thought that, ma'am. So no, you did not. I don't believe that you thought that this was a joke, that you thought it was fodder for jokes. I think that you potentially the moment was being filmed and you were being intentionally messy. And I would just rather you just go ahead and say that. Period. Period. Okay. Now, if we are going to have some honest conversation today, let's go ahead and have some other honest conversations. As much as I love Stacy, I do. I really do. And I told y'all this a while back. And I know that Stacy is everybody's fave. And I like Stacy. Don't get me wrong. But there is going to come a time when Stacy and her bobbing and weaving around fantasy and fiction is going to get old. There is going to come a time, okay, when it is going to get very, very old. Multiple times last night, the footage showed something completely different than what Stacy has said. Now, it it's probably difficult for people to register this or have this register in their minds because they like Stacy because she's fun, she's effervescent, she is funny. We can all admit that she's got a great personality, dazzling, sparkling, if you will, you know. But sometimes the facts of the case are the facts of the case, and the timeline shows this and the timeline shows that. Just like it seemed like, was it me or did the records show that it was TMO who filed for divorce? Did I read that wrong? But Stacy said that she was the one who filed for divorce. So unless I read the paper wrong, unless the paper was wrong, then so there's that. We know that what she said about the whole situation with Tia, we know that Tia was correct in her read of what happened. Now, Tia might have been once fishing for information, but at that point, it's up to Stacy to either give her the information and give her a narrative that rings true through and through. You create a straight through line, or you just but she did last night something that I felt like I now understand what she does is that when asked about the simple truth of the matter or the facts of a case, when pressed about something that she does not want to give the straight facts on, she then deflects to something else. Like she deflected to versus answering Tia's questions about what the timeline was with TMO's job. The her Stacy then turned the issue into, well, you just wanted information. Well, okay, yeah, maybe she did want information, but you gave her ammunition because you still didn't give her proper information. You didn't give her the information that was absolutely correct. It should have been stated at that moment. You know, Tia, here's the thing. Um, if this is the situation, if the man felt uncomfortable, you know, I would just say, listen, Tia, I would love to have him come, but he really is. I want to take my time with him and this group, and so I would really appreciate it if you could respect that as well. Simply it. Easy as pie. That would have dead that situation right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. Just simply say that to her versus you saying one thing to Tia and then saying a completely different thing to Wendy and then making it seem like Tia was lying on you, girl. That's not how the show played it. So then it opens up the door to make us question you about other things. In the footage, you're saying you don't know Chris, but then in the next instance, we see footage that is stated that you're stating behind the scenes that he was one of those people that you dated. So which is it? And so while at the end of the day, will this really matter to Monique later on? Maybe not. The bottom line is if the people cannot trust you, you can't make it seem like, well, that's you guys just don't like me. No, it's that you are not providing a steady narrative for them to follow. They may still dislike you. Okay? That they may still dislike you, but you're not doing yourself any favors when you give a narrative that seems all over the place. And I just think that you're gonna have to Stacy's personality is enough that she doesn't have to do all of this swerving. She don't have to do that because she's already got it. She's got the it factor. And I would hate to see this constant swerving be her undoing, because I know we've been watching these shows long enough, and we have been watching long enough to know what eventually happens to the person that cannot that does something like this, because they love you today, but they'll loathe you tomorrow, Stacy. So what I want you to do is, coming into next season, just be truthful about whatever your story is, and be and as you stated later, be direct about how you feel, and that way you can avoid, hopefully, anything that is going wrong, because it will get old very, very quickly. I just I've been working in this space. We've all been watching these shows long enough. We know how this thing goes. And I don't want to see you on the other end of the stick with this whole situation, especially once Karen comes back, because I don't think that the Karen that is coming back is going to tolerate that. Not that you have to answer to Karen, but I just think that if you continue to do that, then the girls, I also think that the girls are going to give you less energy in general. And when that happens, and we don't know where Dr. Wendy will be, so you're going to need to somehow integrate with the rest of these girls. Okay. That's just that on that. Let's talk about Angel really quickly, because she was the next person that really that we really need to discuss. For everything that I was thinking that Angel had been speaking about in the public with regards to, how the girls just, did her wrong, wrong, wrong. I think I was expecting Angel to come to the reunion with a bit more fire than what she did. And maybe she did in her own way, but it just wasn't enough, in my opinion, for her to really get her foot in the game. I don't think that Angel is necessarily someone who is going to read you down. And maybe that's not who she is in general. She might be truthful with you, or she might be stern with you, but she is not giving you those moments that I feel like a lot of people will be looking for from a housewife in 2026 and beyond. I just don't know that she's going to give us that. That's not to say that she should not be a housewife again. It's just to say that she, in my opinion, did not deliver in the way that I was hoping that she would, and that to me is quite unfortunate. You know, Wendy was had her foot on Angel's neck the entire night. Okay? She did. The Forrest Whitaker of it all, I don't think did Angel any favors. Wendy claps back with the James Earl Jones of it all. There is the catfish of it all. Giselle kind of took care of her with the catfish. Because here's the thing. Yes, the catfish was a joke. And this is, but something I don't like that, and I don't want to sound like I'm coming down on Ashley this entire discussion, but Ashley does some things that I just don't quite get, and I don't always like. And I expect more of her. So when she tries to gaslight, and in my opinion, it's gaslighting Angel by saying things about, oh, yeah, well, that was just a joke. You need to just take it as a joke. No, no, everything is not a joke. And you can't dampen the blow of a lick by saying that it was a joke, because you said that about Dr. Wendy. You thought that was a joke. And then you're telling Angel that she should take this catfish thing as a joke. why would she take it as a joke? It's basically about how she looks, and you guys are saying that she's showing up completely different in person than how she is on the screen. Now, granted, those photos, they did look like completely different people. But dang it, who does not do a FaceTime, a Facetune filter? Who Everybody does it. You look at magazine covers, and sometimes you could barely recognize. I look at a visual for the promos for these shows, and the women will look completely different from how they actually look in person. So to call out the catfish on Instagram, you would also have to call out the catfish for y'all promo photos, would you not? Yes, you would, for quite a few people. So, you know, I just think to say it's a joke is one thing. I do think that Giselle saying, well, we had a conversation about it, and I thought that the issue was done then, I think that's a completely different thing. And also Wendy calling out Angel for saying, girl, we told you. Giselle told you she said it, but you're mad at me for laughing. That's what you're mad at me about? No, it was given that you had a thing against Wendy from the get-go, likely maybe as a result of some of the energy Kiarna had. And Kiarna kind of did to me. Did Kiarna just chin check you again? Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, Angel, my goodness. Kiarna is now chin checking you in real time on this reunion. Kiarna is basically hijacking a moment that is between Dr. Wendy and Angel. And Kiarna just is like, well, no, girl, I'm talking right now. I'm going to get through my thoughts, and I'm going to apologize to you right now. And I'm going to have this moment with you. Even though Angel is trying to have a moment with Wendy. I thought that was kind of crazy to me. I was like, dang, the chin checking the chins stay getting checked. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. My. So the reunion ends with a sort of battle between Wendy and Ashley when they talk about how mean Ashley has been throughout the season. And when Ashley wants, well, to whom have I been mad? To whom have I been angry and nasty? To whom? And when Wendy tells her, well, no, Angel is like, well, you've been mean and nasty to me, to Stacy, to Wendy, and Ashley's like, well, yeah, girl, you just need to lighten up. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. And it's like, nah, you can't keep using that as your defense. Like, if you say what you said, say that you said it and you meant it, and you were trying to have a moment, and you was being funny, or that, yeah, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. I mean, say that. I would rather you say that, but there's never an apology that goes along with the what I said, or that. I mean, I guess she did apologize to Wendy at BravoCon, but that didn't really land for Wendy, and so now they're back at a state of beef. So when she tells so when she tells Wendy that she vilifies her accomplishments, Wendy is like, "Well, that's because you don't have none." I was like, "You don't have any, or you don't have none?" I don't know. I'm a stickler for language at times, right? But I'll go off on here and I'll talk kind of crazy too. So I can't really call out this moment. But I was thinking to myself, if you're gonna say you don't have none, you could probably want to say of which you have none. That would not land as well, but this is semantics. Anyway, Wendy claps back at her. She claps back at Wendy about having only one social security number, and we end right there. Period. Overall, I did enjoy this reunion episode. I thought it had the right amount of levity. I laughed. I thought it was interesting. I was intrigued. I'm actually excited about part two. I did think that when Ashley got that one zinger off at the end, I kind of was like, well, ooh. 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 But, we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. Next episode, we'll have Monique joining us. We'll have Jazzy joining us. And it looks like we'll get a little bit of introduction with the Grand Dame. The Grand Dame did already have a dressing room, so it sounds like the ladies knew she would be there, which I guess was no surprise, right, at this point. So let's talk about Married to Medicine real quick. I don't think that she actually did, unless there was something new that was added to the mix. All right, so let's talk about Married to Medicine. We are on. Let me pull up my notes for Married to Medicine. What was the episode called? It doesn't give me the episode title in this description thing that I'm looking at. All right, so let's talk about Married to Medicine. So we are on episode 10 of season 12. What's crazy about this episode to me is how close we are in cast trips. So the ladies in this episode, they're coming back from the cast trip to Miramar. We have this episode where they're firmly back. And then in the next episode, we are on our way to Jamaica. So it feels like, did this season get chopped down? Was there no action betwixt Miramar and Jamaica? I mean, maybe there wasn't, but I think I'm so shocked that they're already there so fast. So and we know that because we see the trailer at the end, unless they fast forwarded through some action. Sometimes they'll give you a trailer about something that is coming up in maybe 3 episodes, but it just seemed to me that they were already on their cast trip. And I'm like, dang, you just got back from this trip. Okay, so let's talk about this episode. Whatever has gone on between Dr. Simone and Dr. Heavenly, I really wish that somebody would just come out and tell us the real tea on what actually happened, and maybe that will be addressed during the reunion. Clearly something else happened during the reunion because of the stuff that we've talked about this past weekend, mostly regarding Dr. Heavenly. Is she leaving the show? Has she quit? Was she the people were saying that she was demoted, fired? It's all types of discussions going on about what has happened with Dr. Heavenly. And a lot of it stems from this incident that happened with her and Dr. Simone. But for the time being, where we are is the ladies are still in Miramar, and Dr. Contessa has rented a boat, which they actually love. It's a nice little yacht situation. All of the ladies are there, and the biggest thing to come out of that is Dr. Heavenly is 2 things. Dr. Heavenly literally kisses to make up with Dr. Simone. She ends up hugging Dr. Simone and then kind of planting a little kissy. I don't know if she was trying to kiss her cheek. I don't know if she actually kissed her on the lips. I guess, but they're all like gasped by the lip touch or whatever. I don't know. It didn't seem like all that much to me, but I would say if you're Dr. Simone and you probably are upset and you don't really want Dr. Heavenly kissing up on you, then it's definitely probably a thing for you. At this point, Dr. Simone admits that she is still not okay with the situation, but it looks like they're okay enough. And then, for whatever reason, they want to play a game, and Dr. Heavenly wants to play a game of Town Hall. This does not sound fun to me on a yacht. I do not want to play any type of political games while I'm on a yacht. In fact, that is probably the last thing that I want to discuss. And to be quite frank with you, I don't want to play games on a yacht anyway. I want to do yacht things on a yacht. Let's talk about the reality of it. When I'm on a yacht, I want to do yacht things. Okay. That includes copious amounts of champagne, that includes pineapple juice, coconut water, that includes charcuterie boards, meal, all types of fresh food, fruits, jumping off of the boat, getting back in the boat, copious amounts of libation, dancing, having a good old jamboree. I, in this moment, am Toya, and Toya is me in this moment. I don't want to do anything where we got to talk about like anything serious. And a matter of fact, if you start talking about something serious, I am turning the music way up, okay? Because I don't want to hear it. You take that talk underground. You take that talk to the bottom of the boat. But I understand that they got a show to do and something got to happen in order for this scene to make the show. So here we are talking about politics, but I definitely would have been finding myself disassociating, or I would have worked myself right out of the scene. Anyway, Dr. Heavenly, my God. Now listen. In this moment, no. In this moment, no. No, 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 no. No. Maybe because of I don't know if she had drinks. I really don't. All I know is this was not the moment for her to be having this discussion. It really wasn't. And I don't think that this moment did her any favors in terms of her political aspirations. I think that if you're going to vote for Dr. Heavenly, you're going to just vote for Dr. Heavenly because you like her, you want to support her, and I think that that's amazing. I think you should. But I just if you're look, there's a couple of things that's happening. Let's be for real. When we look at politics right now, I mean, people mostly think that politics is a joke because of the things that we typically see coming out of, the tweets that we see, the things that people see that are being said. People don't necessarily always take politics seriously anymore. So I don't really know where her performance in this segment lies, but I know that not getting her campaign manager's last name right is probably I mean, not the best sign, but it just didn't do her any favors with regards to the ladies and their questions for her, which I did think that those questions that they were asking were valid questions that she should be prepared to answer. That's just me. So I just wouldn't have done that on the boat on a day where we're having a good time and we may have been drinking. I don't want to talk about anything serious. And I don't know if that was producer driven or what, but I would not even want her to do herself that disservice of doing that ever again. Okay. So there's that. That's the truth of it. The next day, it's time for them to go, and we're discussing the Med Gala. And we've got a lot to discuss with the Met Gala, so I'm gonna we start that discussion there. We know Toya is, the host for this year's Met Gala, and what we later learn is that the ladies have put Toya in charge of this job because they wanted to teach her a lesson about how difficult it is to run the Met Gala and to gather all of these ladies together and get the donations and get the contributions and get this thing rocking and rolling the way that it needs to go. In the midst of this, Quad breaks down and she admits to the ladies that, the last round of her IVF, the egg retrievals did not go very well. So she gets emotional and the ladies are there to support her, which I did think was great. When she gets back, though, she has a conversation with King. This conversation with King further solidifies my thoughts about how it seems that he feels about her because their dynamic in this scene was mad awkward. And it just felt to me like we were looking at a man who was checked completely out of the situation. That's how it looked. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I'm not gonna try to like. We're not gonna try to make this seem, anything other than what it seemed like. He was like super sarcastic with her. He just didn't even seem like he wanted to be there. Definitely didn't want to share his fish with her. And she done made this man yo meat. I don't know if she picked it up or it looked like the food was from a container from someplace. That I'm not gonna lie, the fish was looking good, but didn't want to share the food with her. It was just their conversation was very choppy, and it felt like it was over at that point in time for me. But you know, it is what it is. They basically decide that they're going to take a break from trying to do this IVF process. They're going to give it like a month to figure some things out. I see a lot of y'all saying in the chat that y'all feel like they have been broke up by this point in time. I don't know. But this is how, again, I do feel like this is the energy that he's been given all season. So now knowing what we know, I'm not really surprised. All right. So Jackie also has a scrub line. It's called Dues. I'm sure there is a rationale behind that name. I don't know what it is. I don't know that we were given an explanation, but Dues is here. And so she has hired Derek Blanks to do some viral photo shoot video for her and her Dues. At this photo shoot, though, will be Toya, Quad, Dr. Contessa, and Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Simone, we learn, is on call, so she ain't gonna be there. I want to know if Dr. Simone would have been there regardless of if she was on call or not. I really do. I want to know. I want to know if she was not on call, would she have been there? Not because I think that she's jealous. I just want to know whether or not she would be there or not. I I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know if I feel like Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie are like really on that same accord like they used to be. But that's just me. So anyway, and especially based on what we've seen from this season, I just don't know that she would have been there because I don't know that she would have felt that same level of support from Dr. Jackie. So in my mind, I can understand if she was like, you know what, I'm not going to that. Bump them dudes. Meanwhile, they get into it about this Med Gala because what they have decided to do, which I do think is smart, is Dr. Jackie and Toya, and I don't know if it was at just Toya's suggestion, decided to turn this Med Gala movement into a foundation. So when you turn it into a foundation, it sounds like now you can start going after corporate sponsors because of the way that the organization has been set up. Toya wants to make the foundation just simply her and Jackie. I personally don't think I don't think that's the right move. I think you allow the rest of the ladies to have an opportunity to determine whether or not they want to be a part of it because this is literally your first year doing this. And granted, it may have been your idea. I just don't think that you should be the person to say, well, I think it should just be the two of us. And you have not participated in any of the years past prior to, and you had no desire to, no matter how much they begged and pleaded you to do so. So now that you're a part of it, you want to take this whole situation over and you want to make it into something of your own. No, ma'am. No, that's okay. No, that's not going to happen. And I don't think it's right. Meanwhile, as Dr. Jackie tried to explain it to her in their previous meeting, now it's time for a little bit of Med Gala discussion. Toya wants to gather the girls because they need some donations from the women's. Okay. the same amount of donations that they needed last year when Toya was refusing to give them the donation. The same donation amount that they needed the year prior to when Toya was refusing to give the donation. Now Toya needs the donation from everybody because she's on board. And so as she's letting the girls notice, she's like, "Well, I do have to say I'm apologetic that I did not, understand the need last year, but I need y'all to give y'all money today or give it to me now or this week, whenever. Just we need it, okay? And I know we need it now, and now I'm a willing participant because I'm the host." I can't fault Dr. Heavenly and Quad for having a little bit of oh, girl, what? And Quad is basically serious when she's like, well, we just gonna stand off on it like you did, because all of a sudden now that you are part of something, you feel like you need to add in some more. I think what Quad could have also said was, girl, how about you contribute? How much is that? Let's see, if we've been contributing for 2 years and you've been to this event for 2 years, you owe us or the event $7,500 because that'll catch you up from the arrears from the past 2 years when you did not donate. How about that? How about that? Okay. How about that? So when you catch up, we'll give you the money. You got a new house, you got new things, you can afford it. Yes, girl, when you catch up to us, we will give you some money. But until then, girl, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what to say for you. I can't. I don't know if we can help you, you know? Toya did donate wine, but donating wine and helping to pay for facilities, fees, caterers, all of that, that is not going to equate to the same thing. It's not, and it's a nice gesture that she did donate some wines, but when you talk about the things that you need to make these types of events happen and you need that money in advance, there's a certain amount that you're going to need to pay vendors and people who are setting things up well ahead of time. So yeah, girl. I mean, we can drink some wine while you are basically handing us this money. How about that? Yeah. How about that? And then to make matters even crazier, um, Toya is like, yeah, so also too, me and Dr. Jackie have turned this into a foundations. So I'm going to be the chief financial officer of what? Of what? Of what? Of what, girl? Listen, I think for them, that's probably what they were saying. For me, I mean, Toya seems to live a magical life, so I don't know. Maybe she should be the financial person because I feel like she might be good at getting people to give their money. So I can't be too mad at her because that's a skill, whether you know it or not. Getting people to give you money is a skill. And if she got the skill, then baby, go ahead and do it. You might can be the funding director, but I don't know if you should be the chief financial officer. I don't know. I don't know. You should be over the donors or something. But anyway, Dr. Heavenly and Quad, they got issues with this. They are like, no, ma'am, Pam. Who I don't know who you think we gonna be, and Quad gonna be the secretary. I was your lover and your secretary, working every day of the week. Um. So yeah, we about to see what's about to happen with this Med Gala. I'm guessing that's gonna maybe be the finale or something like that. I really don't know. Um, but I do know next week they're going to Jamaica. And I'm like, that was fast. Y'all just got back from Miramar Beach. Ain't y'all tired? And y'all be telling me that the doctors can't travel like that. Guess they can. Guess they can. So yeah, we gotta wait and see what happens next week. For all this to go down. You know, we'll see. But that's an issue for next week, y'all. That's an issue for next week. That's the tea that we got for y'all today. I didn't intend to go for a whole hour. But here we are. I got quite a busy day today, so I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. But I did want to give y'all, I did want to connect with y'all. Normally I would do this in the evening, but I gotta get on the road. I had a death in my family, so I gotta go, be with the fam. So with that being said, y'all stay safe out there. Happy Monday. I love y'all. And we out.
We are back in the building, baby. And y'all, we are going back to Bali. Yes, we did it once and we're going to do it again. But y'all, we're going to do it again and it's going to be even more lit. This time, I'm feeling like it's a breakthrough in Bali. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I feel like I'm being led to go back there. And I really want to take you back as well. The first time we went, we had a blast. We had a ball. That was the trip that started my whole travel experience, creating travel experiences. That was the first one. But y'all, I learned so much during that trip. And now I want to do it all over again, but I want to level that thing up. So if you are somebody who has been thinking about traveling abroad, but you just didn't know who to go with, or if you have been trying to travel and your friends and your family keep backing out or don't want to make the commitment to go, this is an opportunity for you. You can finally get this trip out of the group chat because it is going to be fire, okay? I've selected the hotel. We are staying in a lap of luxury. We're going to be doing Bali right. And the thing about Bali is that it's also, it's kind of a spiritual experience as well. So you can expect a really good blend of culture, exploration, a little bit of adventure, definitely some spiritual awakening and enlightenment, and also some good old sexy grown fun. Okay, I'm talking about beach clubs that overlook rice fields. I'm talking about the Bali swing. We're doing all of the things. Trust and believe. We got this thing down pat. So I am excited for that. But here's the thing. Here's how you can be the first to find out. Just click in the link in the description of this video, skyboundtravel.com. That is where you can go to sign up for the list. You can get on the list and be the first to know about Bali and any other excursion that we might have planned, because honestly, y'all, I want to be traveling all year long and I want to travel with you. We've been doing this thing here on YouTube for quite some time together. And now I really want to be able to do that in an environment that is just fun and feels free. And I know some of y'all are ready to just get out here and just live. So this is an opportunity to do so. So hop on the list. The link for Bali will be going live very, very soon, within the next couple of days. So I want you to be the first to know about that and any other tricks that we got up our sleeve for 2026. So if that excites you, then hop on into that link and I will see you in the air.